Hello. Hi, everyone. We're back today with another little early stream. This time we are going to be making up for not being able to do our little podcast Vodd show over the past weekend because we were both incredibly busy. Hi, Todd. How you doing?
I'm good, Val. How are you?
Man, I'm chilling. Just finished work very shortly ago. So, happy to be back here chatting with you, hanging out, having a good time.
Always happy to be here.
Yeah, what do you have with us today? I put in the title that we're going to be talking Shadow, some Game Informer stuff, some Monster Hunter Wild stuff. What do you got for us, man?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk a little Monster Hunter Wild, some Split Fiction updates.
Hell yeah.
Switch 2 pre-orders are coming.
Yeah.
We'll do a little chat about Witcher 4 and Intergalactic and the incredibly long wait for both of them.
Oh god, yeah. It's going to be a while.
I would imagine the Warner Brothers implosion will take up quite a bit of time.
You think so?
I think so. I think we're both going to have a lot to say about that.
Yeah, I'm excited. Let's get into it.
All right, if you're ready to get started, let's just start with what are you playing right now?
A lot of Kazan. Like that's been, I think the game came out Monday. Yeah, the game came out Monday in early access. I checked today, 26 hours into it. And in the span of like what, 4 days?
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, I've been like, I wake up, I work ends, I stream and I play Kazan. That's been what I've been doing. And I've been going for like 6 to 8 hours at a time because it is just engrossing me. It's fantastic. I'm actually having a lot of fun with it.
So when I hopped in your stream the other night, you were playing it. I asked you if it was too reductive to call it Anime Souls.
Yeah.
Because that was my initial vibe. Is that too reductive?
So there is a game that came out, and I was thinking about this very shortly after you asked me that. There is a game that came out called Code Vein. And okay. You may know of it.
I've seen it.
Yeah, that is Anime Souls, 100%. Okay. It is Bandai Namco. I don't feel bad saying this slop anime game of let's put big titty anime waifu in. Let's appeal to that audience kind of thing. Combat was very dry. It didn't really do anything for the genre, quite honestly. This is still Anime Souls, but like it brings some stuff to the table. The combat's good. It's snappy in ways that I didn't think it would be. I feel if I had any complaints, it would be that you only get 3 weapons, and I would like the ability to change the weapons on the fly. Like, let me have a secondary weapon slot or something, you know?
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, but outside of that, it's a fantastic game. I think it at the very least brings as much to the table as like Lies of P, right? In such that like, yeah, it's a Souls game, but like it kind of also does its own thing and it makes it really fun, you know?
It reminded me of like a mashup of like God of War 2018 with like Neo.
Yeah.
Those kind of vibes.
So if you took God of War, Neo, and Sekiro and put them in a blender, you would get this game. And it's actually pretty cool. So I've been playing that. Over the weekend, I played AC Shadows, and I beat it before Kazan came out. And I know we have that on the docket to discuss. So we'll have a big discussion about that too.
Yeah, I mean, we can jump into that right now because that's basically the thing that I've been playing.
Yeah.
I played that, and I'm, I don't know, probably 20 hours into Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Oh yeah, you need to tell me about that. Let's start that first. What do you think about Kingdom Come?
Okay, so it is like if the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion and Red Dead Redemption 2 come together and had a baby, because the combat is terrible and the minute-to-minute gameplay is very tedious.
Oh, okay.
But the ambient encounters that happen as you play the game are just wild. You run up on so many interesting characters and strange situations. And the game really just gives you the freedom to go where you want and do what you want. And It's interesting and engrossing. I don't think it's fun for
Really?
me personally. I think it's a little too tedious. You know, you have to like wash your character's face before you go talk to people so
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
maintain the highest level of charisma.
I mean, that makes sense, but yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I need that in a video game. You
Yeah,
know, I don't.
is it better or worse than Red Dead 2?
It
And so much so like Red Dead 2 doesn't have that, right? But it did have like every single action you took was so deliberate. And it's like, bro, I don't need to spend 30 seconds getting on my horse. Just put
yeah.
me on the horse and let me go.
It doesn't have the slow motion or you know like I'm in 3 feet of water trying to walk
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
feel of Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
But it's just as immersive as Red Dead 2, I think.
Okay.
For me, the big thing is just the combat. I don't like it.
Did
You know,
you
it's
did you
just
play the first one?
I did. It's a little better than the first one.
Yeah.
There's some new moves you can learn and some combos that can really trivialize the combat pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
Okay.
But I just don't think it's fun.
That's
But
fair.
it's interesting. It's interesting.
I thought the first, so I haven't played the second one yet. I thought the first one was fun. I am interested in the second one, but I don't know how interested I'm in because I'm so tired of like open world games, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't want to I think the industry in general needs to go from open world to open zone. Like give us open zone games where you hand pick, you draw, you do everything deliberately so that the world feels populated, right? Shadows, for example, I will say I think Shadows has probably the most beautiful Assassin's Creed world I've ever seen. Probably one of the most beautiful open world games I've ever seen. Like it is stunning going through that game, right? But man,
I mean it's beautiful. It takes
fucking
there. You
sucks.
feel like you're in feudal Japan.
It sucks going from point A to point B though. Like because I mean Japan is tons of hills and stuff, right? Like it's a lot of hills, super, you know, difficult to get from one place to another. And in that game, like you can't, if you see a marker, like you can't go from like, you can't just do a straight line. You have to take these little hills and valleys and stuff, because if you try going, you're going to hit a bunch of brush, and it's such a pain in the ass to like crawl through. I hate it. Like that's one of my least favorite things about the game, I think.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I found that incredibly off-putting right
It's
off the
awful.
bat. I think this is the game world that works the worst for an Assassin's Creed formula.
Yes, it's a very beautiful world, but the world doesn't work for like an assassin game.
No, it's not conducive for the kind of gameplay, you know, the fluidity of movement that they're really trying to go for. I like the game. And I hear what you're saying about it being beautiful. I still think Ghost of Tsushima looks better.
So I thought about that a lot while I was playing. I think Ghost of Tsushima captures the beauty and romanticized version of Japan, whereas Assassin's Creed is Japan, right? Does that make sense? That.
Yeah,
one of them is going for like an artistical, you know, like this is a bird's eye view of like these. I mean, you can tell. I mean, it is built like, you know, for those purposes. Like you run across full open fields of flowers, and it's, oh my God, there's so many beautiful sights and scenes in Tsushima, right?
Yeah, but Tsushima, the way it looks makes you feel, you know, like it pulls you in.
This game is not trying to do that, but it has more of a natural beauty to it where I don't know if you've made it to like winter yet, but when you're running across a road or through like the trees and stuff, and it's just snow everywhere, and it's just like there's this natural beauty and grace to the world around you. Like I think that's fantastic. Conversely, there was one time I got on top of one of the assassin towers, and it did like the pan out, like look at the world around you thing. There was a snowstorm. I couldn't see like 3 feet in front of my character. When it panned out, I disappeared. Like I couldn't see anything. And I was like, I don't know what you're expecting me to do with this, but this is not working for like what you're trying to do. And I think that kind of tells the story of Assassin's Creed as a whole, where they are trying all these different things that are no longer an Assassin's Creed game. And it just doesn't work. Like there's so many systems fighting against each other, right?
Yeah, to me, it almost feels like this game is embarrassed that it's an Assassin's Creed game.
How do you mean?
Well, you can play it for the first, I don't know, 10 or 15 hours, and the only Assassin's Creed imagery you get is the hidden blade.
Yep.
Like there's no mention of any of the lore.
Yep.
There's nothing.
Yeah, so I will say, I went through a love-hate relationship. I fought with this game. The first 10 to 15 hours I played of it, like the opening, I was like, all right, this is kind of cool. I'm digging it. And then you do Noway stuff for like 10 hours before. I don't know how far you've gotten.
I have not got back to Yasuke. I'm
Okay.
still with Noway.
So you do Noway for a long, agonizingly long time before it gives you Yasuke, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at doing that part, I was like, oh my God, I hate this. This is like the worst. Because I feel like their starting zone was the worst starting zone they've ever had. Like it is boring. It's awful. And to be honest, the story sort of gets better, but it becomes like a revenge tale. And it's like, man, I don't want to do all this stuff. I just want to know more about the Assassins and the Templars. And I don't know. It's not, the story's not good. And quite frankly, I skipped pretty much every side quest in the game too, because I was just not remotely interested in anything they had to offer. I did get the best ending though. You can get the best ending just doing
the straight main quest. You don't have to do anything else.
You do the main quest, and then at a certain point, you get Noway and Yasuke's like backstory side quest that you do to like kind of tie up their story. And you do both of those, and then you do a story for like one of the companions you have. That's it's the kid. I know you've met him.
Yeah, Jun Kiro or whatever his name is.
And you do his, and that's it. That's all you need to do to get the best ending. So,
okay.
So and I will say, like, towards the end of the game, they start visiting the Templars and the Assassins, and you see how that ties everything together. But I would have rather they condense the 30 hours or so of like backstory for Yasuke and Noway into like, you know, the first 2-3 hour opening, and then start exploring the Templar stuff. Because it feels like you said, like it's embarrassed to be an Assassin's game. Like it gets tagged on to the end. And when it starts to get good, like story wise, when it starts to really open up, and I'm like actually like starting to watch and listen to the cutscenes and dig into like what's happening, it's over. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, wow, okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've beaten every mainline Assassin's Creed game, so I'm gonna finish it.
Yep.
You know, there's no doubt in my mind. But the first couple hours I was playing this game, all I could think about was Alpha Protocol.
Again,
because I was like, I've already played the best version of this game.
Yeah,
and it was Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, that's fair. I think
like
it's
the combat's better, the visuals are better, the story's better.
Yep. The combat in Tsushima is definitely better. The combat in Shadows, it feels like it's missing something. And I think, not that it's missing something, I feel like the combat in Shadows has too much. And by that, I mean, we don't need a second character to play as. Because they basically took the Valhalla stuff, like, you know, what made the main characters of Valhalla so fun to play as, where you could, you know, if you just want to like beat somebody to death, you can, but you can also be an assassin, right? And they took that one character and they broke it into 2 different characters. So like Noway doesn't feel feature complete because you are not supposed to fight with her, right? But Yasuke also doesn't feel feature complete because, I mean, he has assassinations, but like he can't It's called a brutal assassination that you unlock, and he just walks up behind someone and just like mercilessly kills them. You know, like it is brutal, but like it just immediately breaks your stealth. Like you can't do a stealth thing with him. You can crouch walk, but it's just like this big burly man like hiding in a bush kind of thing. They do have fun with it. Like if he tries to walk over like one of those ropes, you know, he like the rope snaps under his weight. If you do like an assassin leap with him into a haystack, like he just destroys the haystack and bounces out of it. It's funny.
Yeah, I was fixing to ask you if you had got that achievement.
Yeah.
I got that.
Yeah. So like,
yeah.
I just feel I actually really think Yasuke is the most interesting part of the story, like the game. All of his stories, I thought I would hate playing as him because I want to be an assassin. And he is absolutely overpowered. Like he's way overtuned. Like if you get bored with the game and you just want to power through stuff, just play as Yasuke and spam attack and you'll be fine. But I want to be an assassin though. That's why I play these games. And them having like prone and stuff, that's so good. It like there are so many pieces to this game that are absolutely fantastic and good. And I think they're going in a good direction. But I also think they are tied down still by like these other systems that it feels like they are mandated to keep in the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, to me it feels like it's like 90% there.
Yeah.
Like with Nawe in particular, I think she's the least badass character that's ever been an assassin in any of the games. Like I feel so weak when I play with her. You spend like
the first 2 hours getting your shit kicked in as her.
Yeah.
Like every time she's in a cutscene, she's getting like the crap beat out of her.
Yeah, like every other Assassin's Creed protagonist is such a badass.
Yeah.
And she just doesn't feel like that. She feels more like a ninja, which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah, like her story is supposed to be, again, the Tsushima story. It's the rise of the shinobi, right?
Yeah.
And that's cool and that's fine. And we'd love to see that. But she definitely doesn't feel strong. She definitely doesn't feel powerful. And that's okay. Like we don't need that, but I don't think we needed it broken into two characters. And it feels like they were broken into two characters because they were afraid to do the hardcore assassin thing, and they didn't want to alienate the people that started playing Odyssey and Valhalla and, you know, all the other games like Origins. Like
I think, you know, in all three of those games, you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
You can be a badass assassin, but you're also a melee ass kicker.
Yeah, I think it was Ubisoft, and I'm just speculation, right? But it feels like it was just Ubisoft saying, you know, let's listen to people that say we want assassins again, and do that and give them the choice. But like, if you already gave people the choice by letting people be a badass assassin or like a melee brawler person. Like you can do both, and that's perfectly fine. The problem I don't think was that people didn't like the characters they were playing as. I think the problem was it was an 80-hour story and an 80-hour like mandatory thing to get through your game. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, that was definitely the problem with Valhalla.
Yeah, and I'm also tired of climbing assassin towers. I'm so tired of climbing assassin towers. I hate it. It's every time I see one, I'm like, man, do I have to do that? Like I don't like it. I think it's an overused mechanic at this point. I think it's been driven into the ground by like every other game. And there are certain games like Horizon that at least make it fun and interesting. And they also don't put like 50 of them on the map. There's like 6, you know, like it's not, I don't have to do it like 6 times every time I get to a new zone, which is miserable.
A lot of times in these new Assassin's Creed games, it feels like they really struggle to find interesting places to put the viewpoints.
Yeah.
Because the environment is not suited for them. You know, it's not like ancient Rome.
Yeah.
You know, so you end up like in AC Shadows, like a few of them I've been to are just trees that you climb.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, this is not incredibly exciting gameplay.
No, it's not. I think a lot of that could have been done. Having beaten it I don't disagree with the reviews. You know, a lot of people are giving it like an 8 out of 10 kind of thing, and I'm usually not one to give things scores. I don't like scoring games because I think it's all very subjective, right? Like my 8 out of 10 could be your 10 out of 10, or it could be your 4 out of 10, you know? But I think it's a video game. It does some really good stuff, but it also does some bad stuff. Like I don't know how much you've delved with the seasons. I think the season mechanic is one of the best things in the game, quite honestly.
I haven't seen the seasons change yet. I'm anxious for that because I think that'll be cool.
So the way it works, you remember Zelda's Blood Moons?
Yeah.
That's basically it. So if you go into a fort and you clean out the fort of all loot and stuff, the fort will be cleared of enemies until the season changes. And when the season changes, enemies respawn, loot changes. You can go back in and get people's resources and stuff to build your base, which you probably also don't have yet. But there is like a whole, like, you build a shinobi compound, kind of like in Assassin's Creed 2. Where you're building your
unlocked
thing.
That.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that aspect to it. And another thing that happens with the seasons change is it changes the world in a meaningful way where, like, the snow that I was explaining, for example, it muffles your footsteps. So you're quieter when you're sneaking around and stuff. But you also, if there's a snowstorm, can't see what's in front of you. So it's very hard to navigate sometimes.
See, that's very interesting, though.
Yeah,
cool.
It's actually, that's what I was saying. Like, I think this world is one of the best worlds. And I really hope that they take this and they carry it on into other things, because the seasons is, quite frankly, the best part of the game to me.
Okay.
I genuinely enjoy it, because a lot of times when you're playing a game, you're like, oh, I've seen this world before. I'm, 20, 30 hours in. I'm like, I've already seen all this. But like, you could go to a place and it be fall and you see like these beautiful, red and orange leaves and stuff, right? And then the next time you come back, it's all covered in snow, or it's all dead because it's in the middle of the season changing from like fall to winter, right? And it's such a good system. It's just genuinely interesting, and one of the few times I've seen a game really do it. Like, most of the time when seasons change in a game, it's a static thing that the game has decided to do.
Yep.
And it's not natural, I guess is the best way to put it, in so much that like it's staged, whereas here it just happens as you play the game, like over time. And it could take you, quote unquote, 2 years to get through a thing, right? And whereas someone else could do a whole thing in like the entirety of fall, and so they'll experience that a little differently. And another thought I had while I was playing this is to make this a lot more interesting. And I know it'll never happen because WB sucks. I would love to see the Nemesis system or something adjacent to it in these Assassin's games. So like, imagine where you did an assassination and failure was a real option, where the target you're after, or his henchman or somebody escapes, and it breathes and makes its own story based on what happened to you in that same scenario, right? Like, I think I feel like that's what Assassin's Creed needs to like move on to like something else and evolve.
Well, all you have to do is wait till 2035 when the patent runs up on that.
Oh my God, are we going to be alive by then? Jesus.
I mean, I think the real question is, Ubisoft going to still be there?
Yeah. So there's a big fight. I don't know if you've seen like sales numbers and stuff, and so Ubisoft is saying that the game has sold like, I think 2 million. Or not sold, but it's had 2 million players.
Yeah.
And Steam is only showing like 40,000 concurrent players or something like that, which is worse than Dragon Age. But people fail to realize that this is a console game. Like, people that play Assassin's Creed are on console. You don't get many people playing it on PC. And in fact, for Valhalla, I think only like 20-something% of the concurrent users for that game, like the actual people playing it, were on PC.
Yeah, they've said that this game has done better than Odyssey initially did, and a little worse than Valhalla did.
And I
Which,
expect that.
which in my book is a huge success for
Yes,
Ubisoft.
so you have to look at Valhalla. It came out, for one, it was in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah,
It was
Viking interest too.
Yes, peak Viking interest. Yep. And it also came out as, I want to say, a launch title for consoles. So they're gonna have inflated stuff because everyone's wanting to buy the new Assassin's Creed on launch, right?
Yeah. Nobody should have expected it to do Valhalla numbers, but I would say it being better than Odyssey sales wise is a huge win.
Yep. No, I agree. If you can put out something like that now and come close to those sales numbers, you're doing good work.
Yeah, because these games have a long tail. You know, they will be on sale forever in perpetuity. I mean, every time PlayStation does a sale, you can still buy Assassin's Creed Syndicate on sale.
Yeah.
Like every one of their games has a long tail and is available forever. So
yeah, and I know people that are now, because they are interested in Shadows, are going back to play like Unity and other games like that, and they love Unity.
Unity?
Yeah, people surprisingly, man, people love it.
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, no, people really love it. I think it's the setting more than anything that people really like about it. Cool. Yeah.
I mean, if we had 6 hours, we could do an Assassin's Creed tier list. But, we just don't.
Maybe we'll throw that in at some point. I mean, just off the cuff though, I would say 2 is always going to be my favorite. Like, bar none.
Absolutely.
I love Ezio way too much and he's my people. I can't not rep.
Ezio games are the best.
Yes, yeah, they are. They're fantastic.
And then after that, Odyssey is my favorite.
Yep.
It's just, but I love Greek mythology.
I also love Greek mythology. Yeah. So like, that's where I would go with it for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So what else we got?
Okay. So, well, let's just do kind of a quick around the world of games news roundup. Let's start with Warner Brothers. So the Wonder Woman game has been canceled and Monolith Studios has been closed.
Yep.
The developers of the Lord of the Rings games that were so popular the last 10 15 years.
Yeah,
Speaking
those
of the
games
Nemesis
are so
system,
good.
they're really fun, really innovative. The second one really suffered from the whole loot box controversy when it came out.
Yep.
But they also shut down Multiverses and Player First Games, the studio that made that's going to be closed.
Well,
basically Warner Brothers is getting completely out of games, except for Harry Potter and Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if, they're going to keep doing that. I honestly, and I hate to say this, probably the best thing for the industry would be for Warner Brothers to just leave it, because whoever is running that is making the absolute worst choices. Like, they are not doing anything great.
They have some of the best IP that could be mined for great video games, and they're just wasting it. All the DC characters. I mean, they haven't made a good Batman game in 10 years?
No, because again, they're chasing whatever's big and popular at the time, right? Like they're going for loot boxes, and they're going for the live service stuff. Yeah. And it's just like you can't do that. And it's really sad about Multiverses, because I played it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun when it first came out.
Yeah, but you could tell that there was a lot in that game that they were very obviously forced to put into it, and it just did not gel well with the rest of the game. If that game had come out and just been like an absolute standalone title where you played it, people would probably still be playing it now. I
completely agree with that.
Yeah, no one likes to open a game and immediately feel like you're playing a mobile game. You don't want to go through like a bunch of slop to get to your actual game. People don't like being drip fed stuff. Like I downloaded the Hello Kitty game that came out on PC because I was like, man, I want to be a cute little kitty cat. Sorry, wait, she's not a cat according to Sanrio. I wanted to be a cute little girl and build an island and be like super cozy gamer. And apparently it still has all the mobile stuff in it. So when they ported
so
it over, when they ported it over, it still got all the mobile, you have to wait to do all these things kind of stuff. And I was like, nope, immediately refunded it. I feel terrible. So like no one wants to deal with that, you know? The worst thing is opening a game and seeing like a million menus of like, oh, you have to buy this currency to get this currency so that you can use this currency to you know, get a skin you want. Like, it just sucks. Like, quit it.
Yeah, famously, like Suicide Squad launched with 6 different currencies.
Yeah,
that you had to use. It was ridiculous.
Awful. No one likes that. Stop it.
No. I'll tell you, I'm very disappointed that we're never going to get the Wonder Woman game. The story and creative side was being handled by Gail Simone, one of the most famous comic book personalities really in the last 50 years. She has an incredible Wonder Woman run.
Oh my god.
That I were hoping they were going to adapt, and it was going to feature the Nemesis system. It was going to be the next evolution of that.
Oh man.
And it's just all out the window. So
that sucks.
It's really sad because Monolith, I don't know if they've ever really made a bad game.
Nope.
Like they've made all good games that were very successful.
I think Monolith, Rocksteady, NetherRealm.
Yeah.
The what was it? The Player First Games. All examples. I know Player First Games just did multiverses, but like, I don't think it was a bad game. I think it's just a big example of good studios that were torn down by a terrible publisher.
Yeah, 100%.
And just highlights that, like, unfortunately, they run the industry. Like, you can't, you know, you get a bunch of these coin counters and stuff in a room, and they make a lot of these decisions that, like, you talk about being alienated from your audience. Like, they have no idea who they're making games for. They just don't. They have no clue.
Yeah, so famously, I don't know if you've heard this story, but Suicide Squad started out as a brand new IP that was going to be like a tank combat game.
I want to say I'd heard something of that.
Yeah, that's what the Arkham guys, Sefton Hall, I think was the creative lead there. He did an interview where he talked about, you know, they were going to flesh out this whole world. It was going to be like Mech Warrior, and a WB executive come and saw the game, and they were like, hey, this is awesome, but make it about Suicide Squad because we have a movie coming out. So they had to scrap all of the stuff, all the lore, all the world building, all the art assets they had created. You know, it set them back like 2 years.
I don't know what to say to that. That's miserable.
Yeah, I know. That's why those guys left.
Yeah, I would too. That's stupid.
Yeah,
oh my god. Man.
So
I hate WB games. I do.
So, you know, I thought Hogwarts Legacy was pretty good.
It was.
That was all right.
Yeah, it was fine. I had a good time with it.
It's kind of like what you were saying. All their games are good.
Yeah.
You know, nothing real egregious there. But
no, like, I don't know how you can run. Like, I know that, like, it's a big org and there's a lot of people doing a lot of different things there. But I still don't know how the same org can churn out something that's as good as Hogwarts and then something as bad as Suicide Squad. I mean, I do. I know it's because, like, the decision making isn't done by the same person across the board, right? It's multiple teams and multiple people doing different things. There's like hundreds and hundreds of people involved. Like, even the shadows in credits are like 2 hours long. Famously,
I saw
now.
that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, like, you have hundreds of thousands of people, like, doing all of this stuff, right? But man, you would think somewhere someone would be like, let's just make a video game and just, you know, not throw these 8 million things in front of it to just straight up generate profit. And I know the general idea is like, we have to do this to appease our shareholders, but like, I don't know. I'm really hoping
you really don't. You know, look at like Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
You know, CD Projekt Red is doing just fine.
Yeah.
And they don't do any of this shady shit.
Well, look at what happened with it though. Like they put it out because the stockholders, right? They needed the release right then when it wasn't ready and it was bad.
Yeah, and it almost killed it.
Yes, and
But then they had this glorious resurrection with Phantom
they
Liberty.
actually got the time with it that they needed because people bought it regardless, and the stockholders still made money and they were happy. And then the team was like, we're not happy with what we put out. This is our reputation. Let's fix it. And then they did. And it goes to show that, like, if stockholders will just get the fuck out of the way and let people make games they want to make, things will be fine.
Yeah, it turns out that good games sell pretty well.
As famously from the Baldur's Gate 3 head.
Yeah. If you just make a good game, it'll be okay.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of these people that are in the industry that don't understand that are like, they just don't get it. It's like, oh, we need to do this, this, and this, and we need to monetize it as much as possible. And oh, now we have to use like AI art to lower the production cost and all this other terrible stuff that is like starting to plague the industry. And I hate seeing it. And I'm way more prone to supporting smaller indie games at this point than I am just going out and buying a AAA thing. Like,
yeah,
don't
absolutely.
get me wrong, I still will.
That's why I bought Kingdom Come Deliverance too.
Yes, yeah. And it may not be my kind of game because I don't know if I'm in the mood for a 80 to 100 hour like open world hard non-fantasy medieval romp. But I am interested in buying it to support the studio. And will my one purchase really give them any more money than, like, will it do much? Not really, but like,
no, they've already sold a bajillion copies.
Yeah.
If I were you, I would just wait till the Steam winter sale.
That's probably what I'm going to do. But I just also want to support them because good for them. They're fantastic. Yeah. I played the first one and I did enjoy it, but I think I'm starting to hit a point where I'm just getting open world fatigue and I want to play something a little more dialed in, a little more visceral.
No, I could see that. I'm starting to feel it too. When things are not unique and when the environment is not distinct and different, it's really hard for me to go through just this, fetch quest after fetch quest.
Yeah.
I swear to God, if I have to go kill more rats in a basement, I'm done.
Speaking of, Vayara said, I didn't enjoy AC after Ezio. It felt a bit too convoluted. And I think that really touches on this too. Like a lot of these games are just packing in way too much. And man, if you just tell a good story in an interesting world, we're happy. Like a game, if you feel like a game needs to be 100 hours for me to feel like I got value out of it. I played, oh my God, why am I suddenly blanking? Not Flower. It was the same, made by the same devs though.
I can't remember.
Journey?
I don't know.
Was it?
Yeah, Journey.
Yeah.
Journey.
So I played Journey, and you can go through that game in like a few hours, I think. Like no more. But even now, people that want an emotional experience, I turn them towards that, and I don't know a single person that hasn't played that game or that has played that game that has come to me and said, no, I cried. Like it is one of the most amazing games I've ever played. I genuinely think it is a transformative experience, and I really believe people should play it because I think that proves to you that like a game doesn't need to be 100 hours to A, have a lasting impression, and B, be like an experience and be something you felt like you got your money off of. Because it's even now, just thinking about it, it's beautiful. Fantastic game.
Yeah, I love Journey, obviously. Just really emotional.
Yeah.
Like, kind of peak of those kind of games, that like really stir you when you play it for the first time.
Yep.
Just an emotion that you can't replicate.
Yep.
What I love in games like Assassin's Creed is when they give you a main story that you can digest in like 10, 15 hours.
Yep.
And then if you want to do the side content, it's there.
Yes, I agree. Like, I think
to me, that's where they're losing the plot in these games. It's like Valhalla, it takes 80 hours to finish the story. It's
absolutely
ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it was terrible.
It's just too much.
hated it so much. And with Shadows, I feel like if they had spent 20, 30 hours talking about the Templars and like 10 hours doing the backstory for Yasuke and Naue,
Would have been perfect.
It would have been fantastic. And like, yeah, the game world has some hiccups, but I think it would have elevated that 8 to a 9.
Yeah, because I felt the same way about Avowed. By the end of Avowed, I was just like, Jesus Christ, is this ever going to end?
Yep. Most people I've seen talking about Shadows talks about how they don't like the story and they're not happy with it and it's not interesting. And I agree. And one of the main pillars of like, do you love this game is like, is the story good? And no, it's not. Like it's kind of a pain to get through, except for like a couple of points. It is a game of it's just got a lot of highs and lows, and it's just not. It's a lot of times like it's just not fun to sit through that story and cutscene. Oh, and another thing I didn't talk on: the voice acting is absolutely terrible. Are you
not playing it in immersive mode with Japanese dialogue?
So I tried playing it in the English dialogue, and it's just bad. Yeah. Like 90% of it is absolutely god awful. And I did eventually put it in immersive mode and play it, and the contrast between immersive mode and English is night and day. Immersive mode made me feel like I was playing a Yakuza game, in the sense that like the voice acting in Yakuza is top tier. Like it's amazing. Yeah. And Shadows was very close to it. And I will tell you, I absolutely hated the game because anytime I started a cutscene and had to hear the English voice acting, I wanted to just scream and skip it as fast as possible because it was so bad. But going to the immersive mode made it a million times better. So you have to play it in that.
Yeah, if you're not playing in immersive mode, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, period. I typically do English voices where I can, just because I don't want to read. I want to watch what's happening on screen, right? But like I had to for that game. I had to turn on immersive mode. It was that bad.
So in Ghost of Tsushima, did you play it in the fully immersive, like black and white Kurosawa film style?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God, you should do that for like 20 minutes. It's so cool.
I hear it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Okay, if I ever go back to it, maybe when it gets on like a Steam sale or something, I'll pick it up for PC and I might try it again.
Okay, cool. All right, well, I think we can move on to the next thing. So, all right, kids, I want you to pull your chairs up close. Uncle Todd's got a story to tell you about how back in the day, we used to get our video game news through picture books that arrived in the mail.
Yeah, it's amazing. Magazines.
Yeah, the things that are just gone. You don't see them anymore for now. But Game Informer's coming back. In fact, their website's already back up. Game Informer was like so deeply a part of what has made me love the gaming industry.
Yep.
I loved getting that magazine every month.
Yep.
It pushed me to the store.
It
was so good for GameStop.
It and Nintendo Power. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, Nintendo Power was really transformative.
Yeah.
Game Informer felt like a real journalistic endeavor.
It was
some of their cover stories.
Is it one of the first for gaming?
Yeah, I mean, you've got that. I think Electronic Gaming Monthly is probably a little older.
Yeah, I remember EGM. Yeah,
I think they're a little older, but Game Informer was just so prevalent in my life when I was a teenager. I mean, I still have, I don't know, probably 10 or 15 of them that I kept. Like I have the Skyrim one that come out that was so cool. And I'm just really excited that they're coming back. Like I said, their website's up and running, so you can go there.
Oh, that's so cool.
They went dark in the summer of last year, but apparently the people that were working there kept reviewing games, and they compiled a Game of the Year list, and you can go back and see all that stuff now. So they've put all that content back up. So
okay,
yeah, really excited. GameStop sold the magazine, all the rights, all the catalog, everything. to a company called Gunzilla Games, who I had never heard of. They're working on a multiplayer shooter game, like an extraction kind of shooter.
So Gunzilla, that's an NFT game, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, backed by Neil Blomkamp,
Oh,
the District 9 director.
no.
Very, very strange.
So I don't know how I feel about it. I'm glad that they're back. Game Informer is a pillar in like the gaming industry. Like they propped up a lot more than I think people ever gave them credit for, especially when it comes to journalism, right?
Absolutely.
But there's a lot of concerns with being backed by like an NFT company or being owned by an NFT company. It's almost like how long until it happens again? Because the best thing I think they can hope for is to be propped up long enough to be sold to something else when NFTs or whenever this NFT games inevitably fails, because no one's gonna buy that. I'm sorry. Like,
yeah, I was really hoping one of the first millennial billionaires that would have just bought Game Informer, just a benevolent,
yeah,
billionaire that's been raised on that kind of content.
yeah.
So
that's tough.
yeah, so that's a little. I get where you're coming from. It is a little sketchy, probably at best.
A little bit, right? Like it's. I don't know. I'm glad they're back, and it's great to see them again. It really is. But I don't know how I feel about that company though, and I think it's already been more or less proven that NFTs just don't have a spot in the gaming space. And I know people are trying to like put a square peg through a round hole and make that thing work, but it's
God, NFTs shouldn't have a place anywhere.
No, I agree.
Mean, it's just bullshit.
But at the same time, there are people out there that are like trying to force it, and they're going to do everything they can under the guise of like make money while you play a game, which is every gamer's dream, right? Like we want to play video games and be rich and make a lot of money doing it, but like NFTs ain't the answer. And if anything, the most you're going to do is make someone else rich doing it. So like it's at best it's a scam. At worst, you're just going to lose a lot of money,
Yeah, it's just another grift.
It is.
Don't put your money in NFTs, kids.
It's bad.
Buy old Game Informer magazines like I do. So.
Yeah, like support the company. Don't support NFTs at all. Terrible stuff.
No. All right, so let's chat about Monster Hunter Wilds.
Yeah, have you played it yet?
No, I haven't, and I just for full transparency, I will not play it.
Oh, you're not a Monster Hunter fan?
Not my kind of game. You know, I get why people like it, just not my thing.
Yep.
But I was blown away that it's already sold 8 million copies in less than a month.
Oh yeah, it's big.
And I looked at the Steam concurrent. There were 1.3 million people playing it.
Yep. Sounds about right.
It blew me away. I had no idea this franchise was that big or that successful.
No. Bruh, I know people that are diehard Monster Hunter fans. I only started play. So I picked up Monster Hunter on the Wii U as my first one, and it was like Monster Hunter Try something, and it was I thought it was terrible. I hated it because it didn't have any story, didn't have any direction. I didn't know what I was doing. Turns out it was a re-release of a game that had already been released that actually had the story and stuff, and it was purely for fans of the series that just wanted to play the game and already knew what they needed to do and just grind and do everything.
Okay. Yeah.
That was my intro to it, and I was like, I'm never touching it again. And a friend convinced me to pick up World, and I fell in love with it because I was like, oh my God, this game is fantastic, wonderful, amazing. And I've been chasing that high ever since because World was great, and I could see why so many people liked it. And it did. I think at that point, it had a cult, not really a cult following because it was popular, but through World and then Rise, it got really big. And Rise came out, and I want to say like people liked it, but most of the World fans really just wanted like another World game. And Wilds is the first one to come out since that is supposed to be that, right? Okay. And so I can see where like 1 million people hopped into it. I have people that would play, like I know people that hopped on stream with me, people that come and chat will like they've been playing it and they will max out a weapon and then start all over and do it again for like every weapon in the game. people that have like hundreds of hours into it, like trying to make perfect builds and stuff. And
Yeah, so I turned on a streamer that I follow and he was playing it.
yeah,
And he was fighting this giant dragon with a huge warhammer and he beats that thing's ass.
yeah,
And then he goes back to his camp and some cats are like working the grill, making him food.
yeah,
And they have like, the little sushi chef bandana on.
yeah.
And I was just, I was like, what in the hell is going on?
Hey,
in
that's
this
Monster
game?
Hunter,
Like,
baby.
I was like, clearly I do not understand what's going on.
So I do have some caveats to Wilds. I don't think it's as good as World, quite honestly, because it streamlined the hell out of Monster Hunter, which is fine. Like if you are going to make a game more accessible to people, you want to do that in the way that they did it. And I mean that in so much that like feels like it's easier to get materials from monsters. Used to, at least in the World that I played, you would fight a monster like 5 or 6 times before it dropped like the thing you wanted. If you were really unlucky, you could be fighting that thing 20 times before it dropped the item you wanted, right? And that was
super grindy.
Yeah, it was very grindy. Those games are grinds. This has removed a lot of the grind from it, where it would take me what it felt like maybe a month or so to get like a perfect build and like knock something out and feel like I'd done something. My little brother and we played it and I finished my entire build like over the weekend. And I was like, oh my God, like what is this? It was so much faster. The other thing is this game. So Viara said in chat, my friend said after HR 40, the term being drip fed content is too generous for Wilds. And I agree, because once you get to the end game, there is one like main enemy to fight to like get some of your in-game stuff. And in World, they had like the dragons or whatever they're called. I don't remember, but like you would fight those guys and they had several for you to fight and like, change it up a bit and stuff. This guy has one. And so after like 5 hours of fighting the same guy over and over and over, I was like, you know what? I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't feel like there's enough here. And that would be my main gripe about the game, is it doesn't feel like there's enough. I will say the game, yeah, not enough. And they are releasing it, but like as Viara's friend said, it's just not, it's not going to be quick enough for me. I may revisit it in a year or two whenever they've actually put out content for it. And I don't regret buying it. I've had a blast with it. It was fun to play. I will say the story is absolutely god awful, and they kind of leaned in on that a little too much. Because no one plays Monster Hunter for the story. No one cares. Like
yeah, I mean, it is a Capcom game.
Yeah, but like Capcom really thinks you love that story. Let me tell you, it is.
So is it not so bad that it's good?
No.
Okay.
Not to me. It's
that's
bad.
Disappointing. Yeah.
It's real. Like, bruh, Capcom's like, hey, do you love slow walking to locations? Because every single mission you do, we're gonna slow walk you to that location. We're gonna make you look at this world that we took, 6+ years to build, while they give you exposition about why we have to hunt these monsters and why you're not a bad guy for culling the population. Do you love kids? Because we have kids for you, and that kid's gotta really think that he's no different than the monster you're fighting. And it's going to be really bad that you're fighting this monster and in front of this kid. And that's the story, sort of, kind of. I don't know. Wow. I'll be honest. I skipped like 90% of the cutscenes. The only cutscene I watched in the game is if the cutscene was going to introduce a monster, because introducing the monsters, fantastic. And I will say the monsters in this game are some of the best monsters they've released. Like, it's actually, I don't think there's a single monster in this game I didn't like fighting. So yeah, I had a blast playing it, but there's just not enough content there for me. I was expecting there to be a lot more.
So it'll probably have a long tail with DLC.
Yeah. That's my thing, though. I feel like they were like, let's just release this now, and we'll release the rest as DLC. And to Capcom's credit, especially with Monster Hunter, they're usually really good about just putting out free updates. and being like, hey, we added this monster and we added this monster and we added this monster. But I feel like you're going to add the monster and then it's going to be like I'm doing now where I fight it for 10 hours and I'm like, well, I'm done.
Well, maybe that's okay though, because I mean, we just had a really long discussion about Assassin's Creed and these bloated 100-hour games.
Yep. Yeah.
Maybe we should be happier about smaller
right.
bots content drops. I don't know.
Yeah, I genuinely think there's a happy medium somewhere where it's like, give me a nice 10 to 20 hour game somewhere in there. It doesn't have to necessarily be 15. As long as it wraps up and tells like an interesting story, I'm cool with it. If I can knock out a grind in a game in like, 30, 40 hours, I'm okay with that too, because that's kind of what that game is designed to be. Sorta. Not every game needs to be a never ending game in the aspect of like, I have other things I need to do and play, and I don't want to spend most of my time doing that,
No, I get that.
So that's kind of where I land on that.
All right, so let's go from one end of the co-op spectrum to the other. It looks like Hazelight has done it again.
Yeah.
Split Fiction's reviews are just off the charts. It's at a 90 plus on Metacritic on every platform. Sold over 2 million copies. Haven't heard anyone say a bad thing about it.
Me either.
I watched a couple of people stream it. It looks freaking wild.
Nice.
I'm really excited to jump in. Have you tried it? Have you seen anything about it? What do you think?
I am on the edge of my seat because I want to play it so bad. People that watch stream know that one of my mods and best friends, Destiny, is on Spooky Night with us sometimes. She wants to play it, so my plan is not this Saturday, but next Saturday. We're probably going to start like a series playthrough where every Saturday she and I will play it until we beat it, essentially on stream. Cool. So that's the plan. Let me tell you, I bought the game on release day, and so I've just been sitting there with it like downloaded and ready to go, waiting for us both to have like a clear schedule so we could play it.
So did you play It Takes Two?
Nope.
You haven't played
No,
It
I
Takes
haven't.
Two.
I really want to. I want to really bad. I haven't had anyone to play it with.
Yeah, we really need to jump on and play that.
I'm down.
It's really amazing.
I want to play it so bad, and I
can understand why some people gave it Game of the Year it come out.
Yeah,
it's that good.
I want to play it so
I'm
bad.
very hyped for Hazelight.
I all the people I was going to play it with, like they have partners, and it is the partner game to play, right?
Yeah.
So like
absolutely.
everyone was like, I'm playing it with my husband or my wife or whatever, right? And I'm like, hey, I get it. I don't blame you. Please go ahead and play it. So, me being forever alone, I wanted to play it with someone. I haven't found it. So, if you want to play it, I'm down. I've never experienced it though, but like I would love to.
Yeah, when you get done with Split Fiction, we'll go through it. You need that. Yeah, you need that experience. It's fun.
Should you not play It Takes Two first, you think?
I don't think it matters.
Or concurrently?
The stories are not connected.
I know they're separate, but would it not be interesting to see the evolution from It Takes Two to Split Fiction?
Yeah, from that perspective, I think you could take a lot from it, probably.
Yeah. That's what I
just
would
to see how far Hazelight's come.
Yeah, because I did play A Way Out, and that game was fantastic. Like it was a little rough around the edges. Like it was I know they did Tale of Two Brothers, right? But I think A Way Out was the first of their like co-op experiment kind of thing, split screen type deal. And the controls were a little wonky in some places. It was a little weird to play at times, but it was a fantastic game, even with some of those issues, right?
Yeah, I mean their games just keep getting better and better.
Yeah.
So they're one of those studios really to watch.
It also highlights like kind of the thing where when Remake came out and then Rebirth came out, people were like, how did you do all this in like 4 years kind of thing?
Yeah.
And the same thing with Baldur's Gate, and you hear people's response being like, well, just quit treating people like a number, keep them on your team, they grow and you don't have to constantly retrain people every single time you get, new staff or whatever, because your staff already knows what they're doing and they become experts in their craft. I think that's what you're seeing in real time with Hazelight, in that every game keeps getting better and better. And it's almost something you don't see anymore in the industry because everyone is getting pushed out, right?
Yeah, it turns out that stability really does impact quality.
Yeah,
who
100%.
Right?
Yeah, so
happy people make good games.
Yeah, and so you get to this point of like BioWare and those other like Elder Scroll, like Bethesda and like these other companies, like just having a rough time putting stuff out because all the people that knew what they were doing are gone, right? And they have to retrain people every single time they're coming out with a game, and you can see that like it's a fight every single release.
Yeah, famously, Bethesda used all of its remakes for Skyrim to train new employees. I don't know if you've ever read that or
really?
seen that.
That would make a lot of sense, though.
Yeah. Todd Howard said that in an interview, that's how they trained new employees.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. It's interesting, I guess. It's a good way to do it and also bring in like, revenue, I guess, for the company still.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, man, just keep people. How about that? Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't it be cool if you just kept employees for like a decade or
God,
3?
You have no place in higher level business, my friend.
Apparently not. I'm terrible.
You're the worst.
Look, this is why I'm a corpo, soulless worker and not big high level executive.
Yeah, you're not a C-suite executive.
No.
Yeah.
I report to them. I don't.
Yeah, but you still have your soul.
Yeah, I still have the part of my soul that makes me, care about people. Once I lose that, maybe I'll be on my way to executive.
Oh, then all bets are off.
Yeah.
You can be a real alpha then.
Yeah. Just give it a few more years. Maybe it'll happen.
All right, so let's go on to the next thing. The next item I have on the rundown is Switch 2 pre-orders are going to be available on April 2nd, the day of the next Nintendo Direct.
You gonna get one?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I know we discussed it briefly.
Not at launch. I mean, I will eventually buy one.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna put out a new Zelda or a sequel to Mario Odyssey, that is genre defining and industry changing, and I'm gonna have to play it. So I will. I don't think I'm gonna fight the pre-order battle this time.
Mm-hmm.
And have to buy one from a scalper, for like double the price.
Yeah. Viara said Switch 2 sounds like a cash grab. I don't know if I would say.
I don't think she's wrong.
I don't really. I don't think it's a cash grab. But I do think it is a safe release in that they know people like the Switch and they will buy a Switch 2 so they can run their Switch games at 60 FPS.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that looks like the whole point of the console, though.
Probably. I mean,
it's like, hey, would you like to play Breath of the Wild on a modern console that can actually run it?
Do you think it would sell better if they just straight up called it the Switch Pro?
No, what they completely missed the boat. Why didn't they call it the Super Switch?
The Super Switch? Oh no!
It's their. I mean, I'm right here, Nintendo. Give me a freaking job.
They should have done it. Yeah, no, the Super Switch would be great.
Super Switch.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, no, that would be.
To me, the early specs that I've seen, I don't know if it's going to be really worth it in the long run. I'm kind of tired of Nintendo releasing hardware that can't even support the games they make. Because if you look at Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they don't run good. They're still plagued with texture popping.
I can't play them, man. It is rough. It's terrible. It's such a miserable experience. Unless this Switch 2, I want to call it the Switch Pro or the Super Switch now, unless it has like this Switch Direct they're gonna do actually has like really good games, like amazing stuff, I'm not getting one.
Yeah, me either.
Not
Not
gonna-
off
I-
the bat.
No,
Yeah.
there's no point. What will I get it for? Why? So I can play Mario Kart again for like 3 hours and then never touch it again? Like what's
Yeah, I'm just not interested in what is this Mario Kart 9, 8,
something like that? I think it's
you know,
9.
I don't even know which one it is. Like I said, if they do a sequel to Mario Odyssey, if they do a real sequel to Link to the Past,
Mhm.
you know, they'll get me there. But right now, I'm gonna probably sit on the fence.
Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at too. Like I enjoyed some of the games I've played on Switch, but it has largely been kind of just sitting there. Like nothing going on with it, you know?
The only time I play my Switch is when I travel for work.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going out of town tomorrow. I may bring my Switch with me, or I mean, I have a Steam Deck. I honestly, what I'm probably going to end up doing, and this is my plan, load up. I'm gonna load up Kazan on my Steam Deck and see if it'll run it, so that when I'm inevitably laying in bed at like 1 a.m. unable to sleep, I can go grind out and find some secrets I missed.
I really want a Steam Deck. I've just been holding off.
Yep.
Like I don't know what I'm waiting on really. I guess I was hoping they would redesign it, make it a little more powerful.
Does
it have an OLED screen?
I think the newer one did.
Okay.
They did release like a newer version of it. I don't remember if it has an OLED or not. I do know it's better than the one I have though, because I got the very first released one, and there's a part of me that wants to get rid of it and swap
upgrade. Yeah.
Biara says Kazan on a business trip. It's not a business trip technically. It is a pleasure trip. I'm going out and hanging out with some friends in like an area nearby. They live in like a beach town, and I'm just going to be hanging out with them at a festival. It's going to be fun. So
that sounds awful.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Yeah. I'm actually really excited. Yeah. So that's going to be good. That's one reason why I ended up moving where I moved, because I am a couple of hours from a beach and then like a few hours from a mountain. So like if I want to go to like these different places and experience stuff, I can. And having that open is really nice. But
That's cool.
Yeah,
it sounds like a really neat part of the country.
It is. You know, whenever you get some free time, Todd, you can visit me and we'll explore.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
I really need to do that. Then we could do like a live stream together.
That would be cool. Yeah, I'd be down.
So let's talk about a couple of games that we will not be playing on live stream together anytime soon.
Yeah. What you got?
According to Jason Schreier, both The Witcher 4 and the new Naughty Dog game Intergalactic are not going to release until 2027. So, do you think that means that Intergalactic will be a launch title for the PS6?
I bet you they're going to push it back to be one.
Or maybe it's a cross-gen kind of thing? Because, I mean, I will be shocked if we don't get new consoles by 2027.
I think what you're going to see is it's going to be one of those straddle titles where it drops on both PS5 and PS6.
I mean, they could make that work. I mean, they have to put it out on PS5 or they'll skip the entire generation.
I mean, there's already
Last
rumors.
PS2 was a PS4 game.
There's already rumors of the PS6 coming out in 2027, so I almost guarantee you it will be a launch title for it. Whether or not it comes out for PS5 remains to be seen. My expectation, though, is it will be both, because if the PS6 launch is even remotely the same as the PS5's is, and my assumption is it's going to be worse, because with Microsoft out of the game and Switch already releasing, supposedly this year, what else do you have to buy if you're a console player?
Yeah, I mean, I think the consoles definitely need a refresh. I think it's time. But with the way the economy is trending,
it's not great. And
it's not looking good.
No, and with like tariffs and stuff, then prices are going to be out the water. It's going to be gross.
Yeah, I mean, if PS6 is less than $600, I'll
I'll
be
be
shocked.
surprised. I'll be very surprised.
I'll be super
So
shocked.
remember when, when I mentioned this last time, remember when the PS3 dropped and it was what, $500, $600 on launch?
Y- Yeah, there were 399, 499, and 599
If you wanted
SKUs.
the backwards compatible one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that was when Sony was high off their success of the PS2. And now they're very high off the success of the PS5. I will be surprised if that thing is remotely affordable to your average person. And
No.
I guarantee you their justification will be if you want Intergalactic on the PS5, you can get it. But if you want like it to run at 8K, 60 FPS, you got to get the PS6 version.
I mean, I would love 60 FPS to become the industry standard, but
It
it
should
just seems
be.
like they cannot do
That's
it
why I
on
PC game.
console.
If I could
Yeah.
still play console on a lot of these games, I would, but their stuff doesn't run it as well as my PC. So I do this.
No, I feel you. PC Master Race, all that stuff.
I mean,
I mean, I have a PC. I can't say anything.
I love
it's,
playing console games too. Like I still own every console outside of like the Microsoft one, because why would you at this point? But like I have a PS5 and I'll get a PS6 because like they're
Yeah.
inevitably gonna have games that don't drop on PC, right? Or at least like a game that will drop that I don't want to wait another year to play.
So one thing I didn't put on the rundown, something I saw, was that Sony is planning on a God of War side story
Mhm.
game to come out, kind of like Miles Morales came out
Yep.
a few years ago for PlayStation. Do you like when Sony does stuff like that, or are you content to wait for the next big thing like Intergalactic?
I like it. I think it's a
Yeah.
great thing to do. I think it's fantastic. Give me a $40 bite-sized DLC for like stuff. Make every single DLC you do the equivalent of Blood and Wine, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, Miles
You-
Morales was fantastic.
You're talking about like Bethesda making people work on re-releases of Skyrim
yeah.
to train them. Make people work on these. Make them work on a $30-$40 side story that, maybe it's a 10-15 hour like AA-ish production. Do that. Like that's how you breathe life back into the industry.
Yeah, the report is it's going to be in the God of War 2 engine, and it's going to be a Greek side story.
Oh my God.
Is what the scuttlebutt
Please
is.
put it in my lap right now.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
I
I'm
want
dying
it.
for it.
Yeah.
I love the two new God of Wars. They're amazing.
Vayara said coffee doubled in price. If I'm not buying $40 coffee, I'm definitely not buying the next gen consoles for $1,200. Yeah, same. Like I get it. Like it's ridiculous. And Sin said, I got a PC for Power World. I'm set. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like Power World kind of came out of nowhere and showed people like you don't need to do all this fancy stuff just to be like a hit, right? Like give people what they want.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to have ray tracing.
No.
People forget that. I mean, Stardew Valley is one of the best-selling games of all time,
Yep.
and it's pixel art.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's fantastic.
I mean, Terraria is the same way. Sold 40 million copies.
Yep.
And you don't have to have next-gen NVIDIA graphics cards.
You shouldn't have to. Some of my,
Yeah.
again, going back to Journey, some of my favorite games are games that could run on a toaster and you would have a
Exactly.
great time with. And so one of the games I played was the Ender series. I don't know if you've played them. It's,
Yes.
oh, you did play like Ender Magnolia, Ender. So there's Ender Lilies, which was the first one they came out with, and then they recently came out with another one called Ender Magnolia. Some of the
Magnolia.
yeah, Ender Magnolia I played first, and I was like, I've got to go back and play Lilies, and they were both fantastic. Like, give me stuff like that. Like I love these tiny little games that I can just play and beat in like a couple of days kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to pay $20 for a small
Yeah.
bite-sized experience.
Exactly. Because especially if they do it right, like that Ender series did, you you feel like you're getting so much value because the story is memorable, where like a lot of these AAA games don't. They seem to have forgotten how to make games memorable outside of like Final Fantasy 16, for example, that just like, let's make every big boss fight like a wrestling match in this giant, fantastic, wonderful thing. I would argue that some of the stuff that I found and did in Ender Magnolia is far more memorable. Don't get me wrong. Like 16 had some great set pieces, right? Like it was cool. But I would argue Magnolia did the same thing on half the budget. Not even half, like a fraction of it.
Yeah,
you know?
probably a tenth of the budget.
Yeah, like you can do some great, powerful stuff with a little bit of imagination and some really good like ideas, you know?
Yeah, I mean, to me, the biggest problem with modern gaming is that most of it's really impressive, but it's not interesting.
Nope, I agree,
And
100%.
Assassin's Creed Shadows, like we talked about earlier, to me is exactly that. It's impressive. It looks good. It's fun to play.
Yep.
It's just not very interesting.
Would you say it feels soulless?
It does feel soulless.
Like
there are a couple of really good ideas in it, but there's
yeah.
nothing pushing you forward to experience the game.
It feels like, and I know other people do as well, but it feels like a checklist game. You know, that's what I've been calling these kind of things, where it's like you give me a set of objectives, I'm checking them off, other than for no other reason than I have to. It's like I'm going to the grocery store, I need to climb this tower, I need to go raid this fort, I need to go do this and this and this kind of stuff because the game told me I needed to.
They were handcuffed by the trappings of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. And so I want, like, the reason why God of War 2 did good, because it felt purposeful. It felt like it had a soul. It's the best way to put it, right? It felt like you had a reason to be there, other than like Naoe's story, quite frankly, just kind of fell flat for me. And Yasuke only because I know they took a lot of liberties with like the historical figure Yasuke, but it was at least interesting, right? At least the parts that I played. And
well, yeah.
So I had fun with that, but outside of that, I was just doing it because I had paid $20 for Ubisoft Plus, and I was like, well, I'm getting my money's worth, you know?
You know, from like a storytelling perspective, Yasuke is interesting because he's a cipher for the player.
Yep.
You know, he's an outsider seeing this world for the first time.
Yep.
And, you know, that's a classic storytelling trope to bring in, you know, the reader, the player, the watcher, whatever. And it works for a reason. You know, he's your eyes and ears into this world that you're not supposed to understand. You can't get that with Naoe.
Yeah.
You know, she's breathed it, lived it.
Yep. Vayara says, I want games where they don't hold your hand and drag you through their story nobody cares about. Cough, cough, Capcom. Yeah. I mean, that's not what wrong. Wilds feels like. Like it's when I tell you they force that on you, it's bad. I don't know anyone that plays a Monster Hunter game for story. I genuinely don't. And I have not heard a single person that has said this story is fantastic and like they really like it. Most people I know skip it all. Like I know I'm very notorious for skipping cutscenes I don't care about, right? Like that's fair, whatever. But like I know other people that watch everything and they're skipping these cutscenes. It's bad. It's really bad.
But yeah, that's why the two modern God of War games are so impressive.
They're so good.
Because they have momentum. They push you through the story and you want to see it. You know, you're playing through. And on top of that, they're industry-leading graphics, amazing combat, sound design's incredible. The artistic design is mind-blowing.
The art direction / choice of having the camera never cut and always following Kratos is one of the best decisions.
I mean, those are two of the best video games that have ever been made.
Yep.
Everything about them is so picture perfect.
They're great. Yeah. I genuinely love them.
And I mean, Assassin's Creed can never live up to that. I don't think.
Do you think there's a world where it does? Do you think if Ubisoft ever put itself somewhere and they did a game that was solely focused on assassins versus Templars, and they
So I mean, to me,
dug deep into it.
the only way Assassin's Creed could have that kind of moment is if they brought Ezio back,
Mm-hmm.
because that's part of what makes God of War work. Is you thought you knew this character, and you
Yeah.
did know what he was,
Yeah.
but you don't know what he is now.
Yeah.
You know, he's a walking mystery at the beginning of that first game in 2018. You don't know what the hell's going on and
Yeah,
why
that's
he's
true.
there, and it's so revelatory the way they tell the story, you know, about his loss and his rage and his pain and
Yep.
the way he's grown. You know, it's a masterclass in storytelling, and I just don't think Ubisoft can do that.
It would be difficult to do that because they've already told Ezio's complete story, and like
Yeah.
spoiler alert, he dies happily on a bench somewhere.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
but there's no other character in this universe that people care about,
no, that's true.
really. You know,
No, I
mean, I would argue that most people can't even name two other protagonists. I mean, I know me and you can, but
yeah, most new players probably don't know the main character's name.
like, I mean, I would be super excited if Cassandra from Odyssey pops up. You know, like when she did in Valhalla. You know, I was like, oh shit, you know, it's her.
So imagine a world where they do the assassins versus Templars thing, but it's modern day, and you, the player, a character you create, like imagine you get to create a character, which is already like top tier, and for most people, right? They want a good character creator. You create a character, and it starts off with you getting into the Animus because the corporation like Turbo tricked you into getting in there, and you find out you're a long distant relative of Ezio, or maybe you get to pick the assassin you want to be your quote unquote mentor, and that's who you're a distant relative of, and maybe that changes the way some of your character customization stuff, and maybe the Animus messes with you in a way that, like, just for like tutorial sense or whatever, you start seeing visions of that character, and so you can have Ezio like in your head, kind of like the cyberpunk thing.
Yeah.
Would that do anything for you?
I mean, I would definitely try it.
Like, would that?
So if I was gonna pitch like a new take on Assassin's Creed, it would be almost what you're describing, but the framework would be based on the new Hitman trilogy.
Oh yeah, okay.
So every level could be a different time period or time frame, and they don't have to be, you know, these huge giant open world levels. They're more contained stories that you're telling. And, you know, it's really grounded and focused on the, you know, the visceral part of being an assassin.
Okay.
Like, I think, you know, if they want to take it in a different way, that's something I'd be interested in.
That would be a good, like, if you do, you know, we were talking about those $40 games, right? Like, I think that would be a good way to, you know, it's like, oh, here's, you know, you can play as Altair for this level. You can play as Ezio for this level. You can play as Connor for this level. And
exactly.
That would be fun. I would actually really like that. That would be great DLC for I know they're trying to make, so when you start up Shadows, you know how you get to that like Animus screen, and it's like, which one of these do you want to experience, because they're trying to make it like their all-inclusive hub.
Yeah.
That would be
what
cool
the hell
to
is
have
it with Ezio not being there?
I don't know.
Why don't they show Ezio in that?
There's a certain point you get to in the game where there's anomalies you can walk into, and you will see like a picture of Ezio like in the background sometimes. So like he's there. They didn't forget about him. I think they know that he's like one of the most popular assassins they have. I just don't think they know what to do with him. And the best thing I can think of, and also pushing the Assassins versus Templar forward, is that is like doing something to like push people towards like how do we bring all these characters back that everyone loves? Because the problem they face is that everyone has a different favorite Assassin's Creed. Like there are people that love Black Flag. Like how do you get people that want to play as him back or want to just do ship combat? Because it sure isn't their other terrible ship game that they ruined, I think that's the way they do it.
Spent $400 million.
Yeah. And I will say I am genuinely, so the next Assassin's Creed game, if you haven't heard, is going to be
Black Flag remake.
No, it's Assassin's Creed Hex, supposedly, or it's called Codename Hex, and it takes place during the witch trials.
Yeah, in Germany, right?
Yeah, and I
gonna be more of a horror kind of slant,
and I'm cool with it, and I really hope, because it's the witch trials, it really heavily focuses on the Templars and the Assassins, because the past like 3 or 4 games haven't done a single thing with it, and they need to do something.
No, they've got to wrap the story up.
It sucks.
They need to. It's time.
It like you
put it to bed and let us move forward with the next thing.
You always get drip fed this stuff, and it sucks. Like it was Odyssey, I think, where you I don't want to spoil it for those that haven't played it yet, but like you find like this very old ancient person at the very end of the game, and your character becomes the ancient person, and it's like, well, where do you go from here? Like they haven't been seen since, like what's going on with that? You just leave all of these threads dangling, and
it's like, why would you do that if you don't intend to do anything with it later?
Yeah. And maybe they do, maybe they're going for some like hardcore, like Marvel in-game type thing where like all these characters suddenly show up again, but I doubt it, because Ubisoft they don't feel like they have any conducive storytelling in their entire studio, and they certainly don't know what they're doing. Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, they're all different people.
Yeah, so
like what? I don't know how you tie it together. I really don't.
I don't know, but they must be doing something right, because me and you both bought the new game, so.
Well, I played it on
maybe
Ubisoft
jokes
Plus.
on us.
I mean,
jokes on me then.
Yeah, I paid $20 for it. I wasn't paying $70. That wasn't going to happen. And don't get me wrong, I don't regret it. I have friends that bought it and said that they're okay with it. I had a few other friends that said they were kind of like they wish they would have got it on Ubisoft Plus. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. VR says we got them hyped for Hex. Good. Yeah. I mean, we don't know anything about it yet, so like hopefully it ends up being good. You tell me you're doing a game on the witch trials, I'm immediately interested, no matter what it is.
It's time for them to take a big swing.
They need to. Do you think, and I guess this is something we're going back to from like the first conversation, do you think this game is enough to stabilize Ubisoft? Because they're talking about selling to investors and stuff.
Yeah, so they are going to release a Black Flag remake. That's coming this year. That pretty much everybody knows that. So I mean, that's going to sell really well.
Yeah,
because people are so nostalgic for that. And from the looks of it, Shadows has done pretty well. So I mean, I think they're in a much better spot than they were, at the end of last year for sure.
Yeah, there was word of them like selling some of their. What I had heard is they were going to divest a lot of their games into a different entity. Yeah. That way they could sell and still keep control of the IPs.
The Black Flag remake has to be technically perfect.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It cannot come out and be a disaster. They can't take another, big social media snafu.
Nope.
It's got to run. It's got to look good.
Yeah.
So I think if that works, I think they're going to be fine.
Okay.
But it does, to your point, kind of feel like they're more of a game by game studio now.
Yeah.
It feels like they're one disaster away from, it not being good.
It doesn't feel like there's anything conducive like going on there. It's just let's throw it out there and see what sticks, and let's hope we have a job tomorrow.
Yeah, there's definitely not going to be any more Watch Dogs. That's done.
You think they're going to pull a Nintendo and just play it safe from now on?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's Far Cry and Rabbids and Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I don't like it because that's frankly very boring. You know, like if that's just what they do, that's sad, especially from like the studio we used to know and love. And I was a big like fan of Beyond Good and Evil, right? Like
I don't think we're ever getting
no,
that Beyond Good and Evil sequel.
No, that game's gone. There's no way it's still in development. Yeah, especially it may end up being one of the IPs they sell, and we may see something else down the line. But I would bet that IP is dead.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Which is terrible, honestly.
All right, so I think we have talked Ubisoft into the ground this episode. So
yeah.
There are a few games coming out in April. Nothing major that I could see on the release calendar. You know, you got South of Midnight, Clair Obscur.
Yep.
There are some rumblings that Microsoft is going to shadow drop the Elder Scrolls 4 remake. You know, there's some scuttlebutt going around. Is there anything you're excited about playing next month?
South of Midnight and Clair Obscur. I think those are the two big ones. Not technically next month as it just came out literally today, but I'm going to try Atomfall because I'm genuinely curious about it. I've got to get through Kazan first. I think Atomfall is the next on my list, though.
Atomfall looks cool. It looks weird.
It looks interesting and looks fun. I did play like 30 minutes of it while I was in a work meeting earlier. I know, slap me on the wrist. I'm a terrible person. But I already enjoy the idea of it being open zone and not open world, which is very interesting and great. So, and I've heard that it is more like investigation type stuff. Like you're not just running around mindlessly killing things. Like you're trying to solve riddles, and not really riddles, but you're trying to solve like a bunch of these different like story beats, and it'll tell you like, hey, you should go figure out what's going on here, and you have to actually like go look and investigate. I don't know that.
So like a thinking man's Fallout?
Yes, that's what I've heard. It is essentially the thinking man's Fallout. So that may interest me more. Next time we do this, I will have more information on it because hopefully by then I'll have, had time to play it. It is on Game Pass though. So if anyone hears this and is interested in it, go grab Game Pass and check it out. That's how I'm experiencing it.
I think all three of those games are on Game Pass.
They sure are. The best deal in gaming right there, baby.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to try all three. I think Clair Obscur looks the coolest.
I agree.
To me. From a story perspective, it looks really neat.
I love the art style of South of Midnight. That's what's got me hooked to begin with, and I just love like that whole genre, that whole aesthetic, really.
Well, I mean, you and I both grew up in the dirty South.
Yes. Yeah, it's just part of it for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
there is an allure to that.
Yeah.
That, it's hard to it's hard for people who are not from here to understand.
Yeah. And so I'm really excited about that. And then, Clair Obscur, like again, it reminds me of Lost Odyssey. I don't know what it is about it that does, but I thought Lost Odyssey was a very underrated gem. And more people should have played it, quite honestly. But like, I've got to play it. I'm in.
The combat looks like a mixture between Lost Odyssey and, oh my goodness, it just completely went out.
Which one? What are you thinking about? Give me hints.
Persona.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Even the UI looks like it's almost ripped straight out of Persona. In
that
the combat.
For sure. I think a lot of people are starting to realize, and I'm surprised it took them this long to see it. Yeah. I think a lot of people are starting to realize that the art style of Persona really sells that game. So, I mean, other people play it for other reasons too, but like that pop, that's how you make RPGs more interesting.
It's very evocative.
Yeah, you design like an interesting UI and make people like be excited to dig through menus. You know what I mean? Like if you look at old Final Fantasy games and it's just blue on white, like we grew up with it, it's fine. But like a lot of people are like, man, I don't want to go through menus the entire game. I want to do something more actiony. What if you made every single menu a comic book page or like something that was just visually stunning and, like you said, if like provocative to go through, right? That's how you
I
keep
mean,
people's
you're
attention.
not going to get people to play a turn-based game if
No,
the UI and menu is not cool
no,
looking.
and
Just period.
I'll be the probably not the first to say it, but I love, like, I genuinely think the like Rebirth's combat is the best combat that Final Fantasy has ever had. Like, I genuinely believe that, and this is coming from someone that's played every single turn-based game they've ever done, and I do love it. But like, there's something,
it's very good.
it mixes the best of both worlds. It is both turn-based and action. It's so good. It's so fantastically good.
So I'm not gonna lie to you. I've got both my fingers crossed that the Elder Scrolls 4 remake is gonna come out.
Yeah.
And that I can just, dive completely into that. Because that's probably my favorite game.
Yeah.
It's definitely in my top 10. It vacillates, but I love it so much. It's so janky and weird and
Do you think they're
different.
gonna fix it or they're gonna lean into it?
So supposedly the reports are saying that they have overhauled at least 5 of the game's major systems.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm curious to see what they do. I wonder if it's not just going to be basically Oblivion and the Skyrim engine.
That's my first assumption, but I've heard it's a full-on remake, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. It's supposedly it's been in development for 4 years.
That's
so,
crazy. Yeah.
It's
Do you think they should have done Morrowind? Or do you like Oblivion that much?
So Oblivion really just has a special place in my heart because it was the first 360 game I got.
Yeah.
And I love it. I replay it, I don't know, almost every year.
Do you
maybe
think they're
every other
gonna
year.
have a joke in there about horse armor?
If they don't, they're crazy.
Yeah, it's gotta, like, you gotta be like, hey, pay me $5 for this horse armor.
So, well, yeah, absolutely. But like what you were talking about, Morrowind, I mean, I think this is a really good test case because if the Oblivion remake sells well, they'll definitely do Morrowind.
They need to do Morrowind. I think Morrowind
the
was
story in Morrowind is really cool.
It's so good. It's fantastic. I
mean, the game is borderline unplayable now.
Yeah, it is.
But
it's rough.
Yeah, it's super rough.
But it still has like some very good, like, memorable moments in it. And I think a lot of people I think it still has a following. And I think it was before Elder Scrolls really got popular. I mean, that was back when like gamers were still kind of shunned for being gamers kind of thing. So like not everyone really experienced that. And I wonder if they dig that deep into their catalog, how well it would be received today.
I would love for them to retain some of the classic Morrowind elements and just release it now and let new gamers pick it up and go, wait, this doesn't just give me a waypoint and tell me where to go. Like in Morrowind, it's very famous for just telling you, hey, go east and follow this river north.
Yep.
And see what you find.
There's a lot of that. Yeah.
There's a ton of that in that game.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of just blind exploration. And I
mean, it drops you in the world and lets you go, which is really cool. That used to be what Elder Scrolls was about.
That was it. Yeah. Now it's weird because we saw like it's weird because we saw a place like the industry as a whole kind of change to be from that, right? Where it was, hey, go somewhere over here and do this thing. We're not going to tell you where. You have to go search for it because we actually don't know, kind of thing. And now it's go right here. We're going to put a marker on your map for you.
Yeah, and I mean, what I wish they would do is just both. I wish they would just have an accessibility option that if you want the map markers, they're there. And if you don't, you can take them out,
VR assist sounds like what I was asking for. Yeah, it's a lot of that. How do you feel in term about Shadows then doing that kind of thing?
See, I love it in Shadows because I turn it all off.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool to give you the option.
Yeah. So
like sometimes if I'm playing Shadows and I have like 20 minutes, I turn it on. And I'm like, okay, I got to know where I'm going, got to knock some stuff out.
Yeah, so for those that haven't played Shadows yet, essentially what happens is the game will be like, hey, we need you to go talk to this person. They are east of this place and, in this area somewhere. They hang out at a tea house or something, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And you have to open your map and look. And I mean, thankfully, all the areas do show up on the map. If you haven't explored it yet, it just gives you like names, right? And it's like, oh, I need to find, okay, so they are in this region, because you know where the regions are, but it doesn't tell you specifically like what town or anything is there. So you're like, okay, I know it is in this area. I need to go explore around and find it. Or if you don't like that, you can turn that off and it'll just straight up give you a map marker and tell you to go here. And I agree, that is a fantastic thing.
yeah. You just get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I think. And also another thing that they do is just let you turn on instant assassinations. Which,
Yeah, you have to turn that on.
yeah, it's fantastic. It made the game so much more playable for me.
If you sneak up on someone and stab them in the neck, they should die.
Yep.
Like, I hate the non-instant assassinations. Like, it just drives me crazy.
Lil Bro says amazing feature. Let's be real, it is. Like, so
yeah.
It also breaks the game though, because there was one time I was playing as Noway and I was coming up on a boss battle, and it was like leading up to a thing, and the boss was like sitting behind, like he was just sitting there waiting on me to get to him, but his back was turned to me. So I ran up on him and just skipped the boss battle by assassinating him, because the game is not designed for that. I think like there's not a single, maybe there's like one or two assassinations in the game that are old school, like find your way around the map and like, go assassinate this person. A lot of the others though are just go kill this dude kind of thing. And that's what I miss the most for that series. Like, I want to be able to do this super cool. Like, man, when you fought the Pope, you remember that. Not only because you were fighting the Pope, but like it was cool,
Yeah, I mean, you wanted to kill that guy so bad by the end of that game,
Viara asked what Shadows is on. It's on all the major consoles, right? Like PS5, Xbox, PC.
Yeah, I'm playing it on PS5.
Yeah, I don't think it's on Switch. I mean, it can't be. Like that system is so old. You might see a port to it, like for Switch 2. Yeah, it's very new, Viara. It literally just came out. Like,
it
what,
runs
2 weeks ago?
silky smooth on PS5.
Yeah, I mean, it runs very well. Like, I will say that. Like, there were a couple of crashes on PC that I had, but it wasn't particularly bad. And I think that's just mostly like driver problems. So, I mean, and again, to be clear, I know we've talked about it like 30 times already. I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's just...
No, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's a B tier game. If I was putting it in an Assassin's Creed tier list, it'd be in the B tier.
Yeah. I think the reason why a lot of people are disappointed is because they want to feel excited to play Assassin's Creed again, and that's just not the kind of game it is,
Yeah, I mean, I think this game was always going to be a disappointment, because the Assassin's Creed Ninja has just always been on the ball's always been on the tee, just waiting on them to hit it.
Yep.
And they screwed around too long, and they let Ghost of Tsushima come out.
Yep.
And somebody did it before them. They got alpha protocoled.
That's true.
If this game had came out when Odyssey did, I think we'd be having a completely different conversation.
It probably would have been way better, way better received.
I mean, I think it would just be, I think people would be mind blown. They'd be like, yes, finally, feudal Japan.
If it came out when Odyssey came out, though, and it didn't have the world like looking as beautiful as it does, and it didn't have the season tech in it, do you think it would still be as good? Because frankly, I think that stuff saves it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be fine if we're looking at it in the prism of it coming out in 2017.
Fair, yeah.
I think people would be fine with it.
Yeah, I genuinely believe that those two systems save the game 100%. Like, it's so much better.
I'm excited to see the weather.
Yeah, play it again. Hit me up. Let me know what you think. Maybe if you want to save the discussion for next podcast, like we can do that. And have a more of a conversation about it. But yeah, I think for the simple fact that we've discussed it on and off so much for this shows that it still does have a presence, right? It's still very high on the list because it is the quintessential console game, right?
I mean,
like
it's good. You know, that's the thing. Like, it's not a bad game. It's a good game.
Yeah.
And I think we're both just disappointed that it's not a great game.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's it. And I think it being a good game, and remember, like, last time we talked, we were like, are you going to play Assassin's Creed Shadows? Absolutely not. We both said, no, we're not playing
absolutely.
it.
Yeah, I was like, hell no, I'm not playing
and
that.
for us to turn around and play it and be like, you know what, it's pretty okay. It's fine. I think that in of itself is really a win if you look at it.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah, like I think no one has any faith in Ubisoft at this point, right? Like
no, I mean, I was expecting a dumpster fire.
Yeah, everyone thought it was going to be terrible. Everyone, like, anytime someone, it sucks because back in the day when you would see Bethesda, BioWare, Ubisoft tagged onto like a game, you'd be like, oh man, we're in for a win. Yeah. You know, and now it's like, I don't know. That could be absolutely terrible.
Yeah, now there's only a handful of studios that feel like a guaranteed win.
Yeah.
You know?
Pizza says, it's just sad Ubisoft has to rebuild from the ground up because they've made trash for years. Exactly. It's so early on, we were talking about how it's unfortunate that you get these publishers in that just don't know what people want, and they just make people make the worst stuff. And I really think that like what you're seeing is the evolution of Ubisoft having really bad direction and being told you have to have every game have this in it because we want to grow our base. And it really feels like their answer to grow was people like this system and this system and this system. What if we put it in the same game? Yeah. And that became like, but the problem, like, I don't think they had any foresight. Whoever made those decisions is like, well, now every Ubisoft game is the same, and we've been playing the same game for the past 20 years or so. So, like, why would I buy a new game? I already know what it's going to be. And if your story's not good, then what's the point of me doing it? I played the same game 5 years ago, you know? Yeah,
and I mean, essentially since Origins, you know, these games have been identical sans the setting.
Yeah.
You know?
And they did the same thing with Ghost Recon and Far Cry, and every other game they had that had a unique identity became the exact same thing. And it sucks
when
to see.
When the C-suite executives get involved, it ruins everything.
Absolutely, it does.
Okay, so let's stop talking about video games.
Yes.
For like the last 5-6 minutes we're going to record probably. So what non-gaming stuff have you been enjoying, if any?
Most of my stuff has been gaming because I've been so busy, but I did watch Invincible. I did catch up on Invincible, and
it's about time.
Yeah, so I had so many people telling me I had to do it. I finally did it. And I've been watching Daredevil as it comes out. It's so good.
Have you watched the 2 newest episodes of Daredevil?
I did, yes.
They are amazing.
They're fantastic.
Bank Heist episode was
so good.
Freaking good.
Yeah, I don't want to go too much in because I don't want to potentially spoil, but it feels, I was telling Destiny this, I said, it feels good to have fun watching a Marvel thing again. Like, it really does. Because again, remember, I haven't watched a lot of Marvel stuff since like before I think Shang-Chi maybe was the last like really big one.
Okay.
That I watched. And because anything I had tried, like I had tried the Hulk show and I didn't like it. And I think I bounced off of it after like episode 2 or 3 or something like that. Or I was like,
She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, I tried She-Hulk. And like,
it's awful.
And it was, I don't remember if it came out immediately or if it was like slowly over time, because I know they started to do that, but whatever reason, I just did not finish it. And I I don't know. Like, I just kind of fell off the bandwagon because I was like, well, this is just not good anymore. It's not the heroes I like, kind of like we were discussing last time, right?
Yeah.
But going back to Daredevil and having the original cast again and like making it be a continuation because they were at least smart enough to realize they had something great. And then making it brutal. Like, it is, I mean, it's been
brutal.
a while. It's been a while since I've seen the other Daredevils. I don't think they were this like R-rated.
I don't think they went this hard.
No, and it's.
I mean, they went pretty hard, but I don't think
it
they
makes
went
it
this hard.
so good. Like,
Yeah.
man, imagine they. I mean, I know they won't, but like, imagine they make these other Marvel series like this R-rated. Like, that'd be cool. I'd be into it for sure.
So the thing I love about Daredevil Born Again is it is not ashamed that it's a comic book property.
Yeah.
Like he actually calls Frank Castle the Punisher.
Yeah.
You know, he calls White Tiger White Tiger.
Yeah.
You know, like they say the comic book names and they're not acting like this is a world where it's so weird that there are superheroes. They just kind of embrace it and they go on.
And I think Marvel got a lot more confident with that over time, right? Because in the first like series, it was like, who are you? Or, oh, you're a man in space or blah, blah, blah. And they had to get people used to it. But now, if you look at the MCU and the continuity of it, it's like, oh, this stuff has been going on for decades by now. It's normal again, you know?
And like the 5-minute scene that Punisher is in
it was so good.
First, it's so freaking good.
It's so good. It's amazing.
I mean, we could spoil the shit out of it, but I'm not going to.
No.
There's one line of dialogue in it that just hits so hard.
It does. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I'm
sure you do. It's so good.
Because when that episode ended, I was going to go to bed, but I stayed up for a while thinking about that.
Yeah, I know. I did the same thing. I just couldn't go to sleep.
It was good. It was very good.
So Invincible, you've caught up all 3 seasons?
Yep.
What do you think?
Let's see. I like it, but I wish the animation was better because I think the animation is quite frankly just not good. But keep in mind,
the animation quality has gotten worse.
But keep in mind, I also watch like anime and stuff where like the animation quality is sometimes really, really good. So I would say it's like its best is probably some of the worst animation I've ever seen, right? Like, it's bad. But that's also just American animation. Like, we don't have good animated shows. It's just not a thing that our people can do.
No, I think the fight scenes are pretty good, but I think the static scenes, you will notice if you pay too much attention to it, that a lot of stuff in the background just kind of looks like a painting.
Yep.
Like things are not moving. One
of my favorite things, I want to say, was towards the middle or end of season 2, where he meets the guy that is the essentially the writer for Invincible, but he writes like the super dog or whatever it's called, psychic dog, ghost dog, whatever it is.
Yeah, and he makes the Robert Kirkman stand in.
Yeah, and he's talking to him about how do you do all this stuff, and as he's explaining it, it goes through the different things of what he's talking about. I thought that was fantastic, and that as much as I do think it has interesting parts. I feel like I don't know the world enough to. It feels like a lot of this stuff just kind of comes out of nowhere sometimes, so I don't really know that.
So you've never read the comic?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, so you don't have the background. Okay.
No. So a lot of it feels like it comes out of nowhere. Like a lot of these characters that die and then suddenly come back and then like whatever. Like it's
like when Angstrom Levy comes back.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to like follow or wrap my head around. Like, bro, you were dead. I like the idea of like what Invincible goes through, like his fight. He almost feels like an R-rated Peter Parker type character, right?
Yeah. The struggle.
Yeah. And I like that, but I don't know if I like the overall vibe, if that makes sense. Because I get where they're going, and I did enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I would have quit watching it if I didn't like it, right? But I don't know if I would have kept going if I hadn't already been told to, that it was going to be good, kind of thing.
So I think the best thing about Invincible as a property is how unafraid it is to do just wildly crazy shit.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
that is
like
true.
for the Invincible War,
Yeah.
the one, the episode that we get this season that kind of covers that comic arc.
Yeah.
It's insane.
But it does
Like,
happen very quickly too,
it
right?
yeah,
Because it's a show, right?
yeah, they rush it way too fast. Like,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying because he had just got through with that one big battle, and then it's just wow, shit, onto this now, and
Yeah, and that's one of the things is like the Invincible War I think had just happened and then Conquest showed up. I'm like, bro,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
come
it's a
on.
little much. Like, how many bad days can this guy have?
It feels you can what I will say is you can tell it's rushed. Like it is so incredibly rushed. And it feels like it's rushed in animation. It feels like
Yeah.
the story is rushed. And I take that into account when I watch it, and I would be surprised if they get a lot of like budget to really do the things they want to do. So I don't blame the animators or the show or whatever. I get why people like it though. I will say that. I understand, you know?
The source material is so dense. Like, you could really do 20 episode seasons.
Yeah, and
Like,
that's
if you wanted to. Like,
I don't
I
know.
love the comic. I've read all of it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh yeah, it's
I don't know if it'll
amazing.
ever make me pick up a comic book to read it,
Yeah.
but getting what I would say is probably the Cliff Notes version of it is not bad. Like I really love Cecil. I think Cecil's cool. And
Yeah, Cecil's a really cool character.
yeah, and I want to see more of him. But like I also know that like I will never see him the way he's meant to be seen because they're giving me the Cliff Notes version of Cecil, right?
Yeah, the one episode this season that has like a Cecil flashback
Yeah.
is really cool.
It was one of the
it kinda
best
gives
parts.
you some it gives you some real insight into his character.
I also felt really bad when a couple of characters like died. Like I was like, oh no, those characters were cool. And I won't
Yeah, and that's one thing that happens in this universe is,
people are
it
gone.
just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because I don't. Robert Kirkman is the guy that wrote Invincible, the same dude that
Yeah.
did The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
So, and it's the same way in The Walking Dead. You could have a guy. He's not as bad as George R.R. Martin, but he's pretty close.
Yeah. I mean,
Just randomly killing people.
and a lot of people, I think a lot of people fall on the side of, oh, this is all for shock value kind of stuff. But I don't think that's the case. I think they just want to tell believable stories where there's actually like consequences. Because if that were the case,
Because there's no
people would just-
consequences in mainstream comics.
No, not at all.
There can't
And
be.
Yeah, exactly. When you start the day off, in the end the hero's going to win, right? But like if you put stakes in it, you're like, oh my god, this fight just started. Is someone going to actually live? Like or are they going to make it through? And that adds a whole aspect to it that I don't think people really can grasp or understand. And I think it's cool if you just want to have your happy, Disney story, right? That's fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. But like people that want something a little more deep and visceral, not to say that like those fairy tale stories aren't, but like some people want something more, and I think it delivers very well.
But if you want something that's going to give you like real character anxiety,
Yeah.
you can't get that in a Marvel movie.
No,
But
not at all.
which I'm not saying you need that. All things can be different. But like in Invincible, like in the last season when Conquest and Eve are fighting, there's real worry that Conquest is going to rip Eve's head off.
I genuinely thought that like I was like, all right, she might actually die.
Yeah, and I mean, she, spoilers, she kind of does till she doesn't.
Yeah, I genuinely like a lot of the times when a lot of those fights are happening, I'm like, oh, bro, that's not good. She's gonna die, and that's what kept me watching it. Honestly, like I think it was the interest of, is this actually gonna happen or not?
Yeah,
like when
the whole comic series is that way.
Okay, cool.
Nobody is safe.
Well, that's good. Well, not good, but like it's. I like it is interesting from a storytelling standpoint. I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I like a story where the handcuffs are off and I don't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just,
I do too. And I get people not liking Game of Thrones because their favorite character dies and stuff. And
yeah,
but I think if handled well, it brings an interesting layer to the story. And keep in mind, I read the books, right? And the books are so much better than the show, and they handle things so much differently. And and I think I get the sense that it's the same way with Invincible, where like it doesn't really do it justice for what's on paper.
yeah, it's the same way. Like the source material is way denser and way better, but you know, I'll take what I can get.
Okay.
So. Man, that's really all I got this week. Anything else you want to?
No, I don't have anything else myself. I think that was
you don't want to do 15 more minutes on Assassin's Creed Shadows?
I could talk about that game all night because I think it's a very interesting case study in Ubisoft, but I will refrain.
I mean, we didn't even talk about how you could, you know, breathe through a reed and assassinate people from underwater.
I didn't do that once.
I did it once to get the there's an achievement or trophy for it.
Oh, really? I didn't do it a single time. Like I unlocked it and I was like, well,
yeah, the very first chance they gave me.
Yeah, I can't. If I start talking, I'm going to go into another half-hour tangent on it. So
I get it.
We'll save that for next time.
Sounds good, man.
All right. Well, I think that's it for this podcast. Thank you for joining me, Todd. I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me, Val. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I will see you again, I guess, in about 3 weeks, right?
Sure.